As the world holds its breath, BRICS is about to make some serious change.
For more than a decade, the BRICS group has been comprised of 5 countries dominated by China. Especially since member Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the group has positioned itself as a counterweight to Western democracies that dominate the world economy. Now its membership has doubled, welcoming 5 new members, including oil-rich countries in the Middle East.
BRICS was established in 2009. On January 1st, 5 new members have joined. Oil-rich countries like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Iran, along with Egypt and Ethiopia.
The BRICS bloc of emerging economies just got bigger. 5 new members have joined the China-dominated grouping, among them Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Ethiopia.
Is an ever bigger BRICS fit for purpose? With 6 countries invited to join the bloc, are the world's biggest emerging economies diluting their strength or building on it? And more than a decade after its founding, is the alliance from the global south what it was meant to be?
You know, before these 6 countries, including Argentina, were invited to join BRICS, some 40 countries expressed an interest in joining. I think 25 formally applied. That seems like a lot of countries. Should we expect to see BRICS getting even bigger?
That, and questions like, why did BRICS expand its membership, and what's the global impact? How do countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia joining BRICS change geopolitics? How will BRICS use its new members to tackle challenges like unilateral sanctions and the dollar's dominance? Are what's on everyone's mind. Picture this: a group of powerful emerging economies banding together like the Avengers, but instead of saving the world from supervillains, they're shaking up the global economic landscape. How, you ask? Well, by inviting 5 new members to the party, that's how. Meet the new kids on the block: Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. These heavy hitters are stepping into the ring as full-fledged members of BRICS, joining the ranks of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It's like the Justice League assembling with a few new recruits, ready to take on the challenges facing the global south. Now, you might be wondering, why the sudden expansion? Well, think of BRICS as a tight-knit squad of superheroes, each with their own unique strengths. By adding more members to the team, BRICS aims to create a stronger coalition of developing nations that can stand tall on the world stage. It's like beefing up your roster with top-notch players to dominate the game. But how did these 5 countries make the cut? That's the million-dollar question. While BRICS didn't spill all the beans on the selection process, they did mention something about guiding principles, standards, criteria, and procedures. Translation: they had a secret formula for picking the best of the best. So, strap in, folks, because the BRICS bloc just got a whole lot bigger, and the world is about to feel the impact. Let's break it down. We're talking about BRICS, the heavyweight champs of the economic world, and they're about to double their squad with 5 new members. Now, these aren't just any countries. We're talking about significant players in their neck of the woods. Imagine it like this: BRICS is hosting a star-studded party, and Saudi Arabia, Iran, the UAE, Egypt, and Ethiopia just got their golden tickets. It's like assembling a dream team of economic powerhouses, each bringing their own unique flair to the table. But here's the kicker: with these new additions, BRICS is taking on a Middle Eastern vibe. It's like adding a splash of spice to an already flavorful dish. But why does this matter? Well, it's not just about economics. It's about geopolitics, strategy, and the future of global alliances. Take China, for example. They've been playing peacemaker between Saudi Arabia and Iran, a role usually reserved for the big shots like the United States. And then there's India, striking up currency deals with the UAE to bypass the US dollar. It's like rewriting the playbook on how nations do business. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. This expansion isn't just about adding names to a list. It's about securing energy resources for the long haul. Picture it like this. BRICS is stocking up on fuel for a marathon, making sure they're not left high and dry when it comes to oil prices. So when they're picking new members, they're not just looking at passports. They're thinking about how these countries can help keep the lights on and the engines running. It's like playing chess, thinking 3 moves ahead to protect your kingdom and secure your future. While Russia stands as the energy powerhouse among the core BRICS members, the inclusion of non-energy producing countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt adds a diverse array of spices to the mix. Why the expansion, you might ask? Well, it's all about economic resilience and independence. With the threat of unilateral sanctions looming and the dominance of the US dollar in global trade, BRICS is on a mission to carve out its own path. By welcoming new members, BRICS aims to create a network of nations that can trade more freely using local currencies, reducing reliance on the dollar and minimizing the risk of collateral damage from sanctions. Think of it as building a bridge between economies, where each BRIC represents a member country's currency. With more BRICs in the bridge, the structure becomes stronger, allowing goods and services to flow more smoothly across borders. This shift not only fosters economic cooperation within BRICS, but also challenges the traditional norms of global trade dominated by Western powers. Inclusion into the BRICS fold isn't just about joining a club. It's about gaining a seat at the table of economic independence and global influence. Take Iran, for example. For years, it's been battling the disruption of political isolation and harsh sanctions. And here comes the BRICS, offering a beacon of hope and a safe harbor. So why is Iran eager to board this BRICS ship? Well, let's rewind the clock and look at Iran's roller coaster history. Since the revolution in 1979, Iran's been in the crosshairs of global powers, facing one sanction after another, especially from the United States. These sanctions were like chains, trying to hold Iran back from its nuclear ambitions and cripple its economy. But Iran's no stranger to adversity. Like a clever fox, it's learned to outsmart its enemies, dodging sanctions and finding alternative routes to keep its economy afloat. Take its oil sales, for instance. Despite facing a sea of restrictions, Iran still manages to find buyers like China, who guzzle up Iranian oil like it's liquid gold, granted at a discounted price. Now, let's fast forward to today. Iran's already making waves in BRICS waters, with trade soaring to $38.43 billion last year alone. China leads the pack as Iran's top trading partner in BRICS, with $30.32 billion worth of trade, followed by India, $4.99 billion, Russia, $2.32 billion, Brazil, $466.55 million, and South Africa, $322.04 million. It's like Iran's found a new group of friends who aren't afraid to stand up to the bullies on the playground. So, as Iran sets sail towards a brighter future with BRICS, one thing's for sure. The winds of change are blowing, and Iran's ready to ride the waves. Enter Ethiopia, a rising star in Africa's economic landscape. With one of the continent's fastest-growing economies and hosting the African Union headquarters, Ethiopia's inclusion makes perfect sense. It's like a key player securing a spot on the winning team, strategically positioning itself for future success. But it's not just about economics, it's about strategic positioning. Countries like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE mount the line between East and West, balancing their interests while seeking alternatives to traditional Western alliances. Saudi Arabia, in particular, is making moves to assert its independence, leveraging options like the China-brokered agreement to restore ties with Iran. As the geopolitical chessboard evolves, these new alliances and partnerships will shape the future of global politics and trade.
The BRICS alliance is described as highly diverse. Primary goal is to establish a counterbalance to the West, especially the United States and the European Union. The new BRICS group represents about a third of global economic power and just under half of the world's population.
Yeah, well, it really does come down to that stated aim of BRICS, which is to be a counterweight to the West. It feels like the European Union and the United States for far too long have had far too much sway when it comes to things like the World Bank and international monetary funds. Europe and the US does have to keep an eye on this because 40 countries expressed an interest in joining BRICS ahead of these 6 being invited. 25 formally applied to join BRICS, and that does rather suggest that the West is losing its sway in parts of the world, particularly in the South, and that though we've just added 5 members to BRICS, there could be more added in the not-too-distant future.
The question is, do we still have something to offer to the so-called global South? I mean, this is sort of a buzzword. We like to say, yes, we need to support the global South.
In conclusion, the expansion of BRICS isn't just a geopolitical reshuffling. It's a groundbreaking shift in the balance of global power. With a larger share of the world's population and economy, BRICS is poised to become a formidable force for reform in global governance. Imagine it like this. BRICS is stepping onto the world stage not as mere spectators, but as active players, ready to reshape the rules of the game. But will this expanded group be more effective than its predecessors in driving change? That remains to be seen. The inclusion of Iran in BRICS sends a powerful message to the Western world. It's like a fortress built on the principle of solidarity among developing nations, standing firm against external pressures and interference. With Iran under its wing, BRICS stands tall, asserting its independence and challenging the dominance of traditional power structures. It's akin to a coalition of underdogs rising to confront the giants, signaling a new era of global cooperation and resilience. As South Africa navigates its ties to the US within the framework of BRICS, it faces the delicate task of balancing competing interests. However, being part of BRICS offers strategic leverage, like a shield against external pressures. While South Africa's economic prowess may not match that of its counterparts, its alliance within BRICS strengthens its voice on the global stage, ensuring that its interests are heard and respected. BRICS, once focused primarily on economic cooperation, may evolve into a political powerhouse in the future. The prospect of further expansion raises questions about its trajectory, akin to a journey into uncharted territory. With 40 countries expressing interest in joining, BRICS' incremental growth signals a potential shift in global dynamics. It's like adding new chapters to an epic saga, with each member contributing to a narrative of collective empowerment and progress. The looming possibility of major economies trading within BRICS using local currencies instead of the US dollar raises concerns about de-dollarization. While the implications may not be immediate, they are significant. Picture it like a game of financial chess, where moves made within BRICS have the potential to reshape global trade patterns. In the near future, trading within BRICS without reliance on the US dollar could challenge the existing economic order, posing both risks and opportunities for the international community. So what does all this mean for the West? It's a wake-up call. BRICS isn't just knocking on the door of global leadership, it's threatening to kick it down. As the geopolitical landscape continues to evolve, one thing is clear: BRICS is here to stay, and its expanded roster of members is ready to challenge the status quo. And to watch the latest geopolitical news, watch this video here.